Hello, so I thought I'd go back into a bit of astrology because I thought this was kind of, I took a break from it because, I don't know, sometimes I don't want to think too much. But in any case, here is a chart of someone, I think, for those who are, I guess you could call like cult fans. Lucy Lawless. Okay, so I thought I'd do one. Ta-da! So, in any case, let's see what we can come up with here. I'm going to use this marker here. Good, okay. So hopefully you can see my screen really well. So, again, this is just a reminder for those people who haven't seen my other videos. Welcome to my channel. I usually do many things, namely astrology stuff and also music. I love to be creative. I have Sun and Pluto conjunction in my chart, and it's more than that. That's why you have that whole Plutonian PP. PP is not PP, it's Peppy. It's my nickname, actually. So, anyway, so here's a chart of Lucy Lawless. Birth chart. I had to look up, like, if some people have no birth time, so it's hard to put it in, like, I want the birth time because it's like, it's more specific. The more specific it is, the more you can get out of it. So anyways, let's have fun here. So as we can see, we have her, right away, we have a stellium in her first house. So she's very like Aries. You can tell right away that the moon is also in Aries in, what is that? 7 degrees Aries. And Sun is 8 degrees. 5 degrees Aries and 8 degrees Sun in Aries. Moon 5 or moon 6 right here. I don't know if you can see it. And then right there. But her part of fortune is also in the first house. So a lot of it is like the leadership stuff. A lot of it is being curious about things, childlike sort of behavior, sort of like that. Very good, sort of like the pioneer, the go-getter, just like in there. You probably might. That's probably why she plays roles that tend to be more like the whole like. There's a voluptuosity about her. She's very. She's not only tall, but of course you know that she's very tall. She's like 7 feet tall or something, or 6 something. I don't know. She's very tall. And I always said to myself, if I were straight, I'd be like, oh my god, it's Lucy. Oh my god, I'm so lesbian. But in any case, here's her son. It's a very pioneering person. Definitely has a lot to do with action. That's why she plays roles that are more like action, more about the body, more about how she perceives herself as herself and identity and her emotions and the ups and downs of emotion. That's the moon, her habits, all that stuff. Relationship to the world itself and how people see her, particularly like her body as well, her health and her body as a whole, how she packages herself. Very much there. But we also have the moon and the sun, so they're in conjunct, so she's a very lunar person. So a lot of that emotional stuff, like as you can probably see, I don't want to go deep into too much about the soul and then the moon, but it is that, right? But it's conjunct to spirit, which is the sun. So a lot of her identity, the ego stuff, is also related to her soul. So she's very much learning towards that. She makes use of that energy as she progresses in life. Now, of course, there's another chart that we can look at, which is her relocation chart, but that's not in this one. I could look into it, but I don't know where she moved. I'll have to look into it. There are some people that I wanted to put in. I think I did one for Keanu Reeves, or is it Chris Evans? I don't know. In any case, we also have our sun, not the moon, but the sun conjunct Eris. And as you know, in a previous video, I'll post it in the link in there about Eris, how I feel that's like the ruling planet of Libra, and I think many astrologers might agree with that. But so she's very much like this kind of like that's why you see her in acting. She plays roles that are very like testy. She likes to poke buttons and kind of like, is it? It's very Plutonian, but it's also very like it's a very Eris. Eris is a kind of Plutonian sort of feel to it. We don't know exactly yet, but that's what sort of we're getting right now. And also we have her sun also conjunct Saturn, so she's very disciplined. She's very certain about what she does for her own health, her body, I wouldn't say reputation, but in a way, kind of. 10th house and 1st house is kind of very similar in that case, but it's not really reputation. It's more about just how she packages herself to the world, as I've said before. So there's very Saturnian personality as well. So it's lunar Saturnians, which is interesting because that means she knows how to handles the emotions that she goes through in life, particularly with her relationship with herself, and in turn also with her relationship, specifically the moon here, lunar self, with others. So she's very much like, her chart is very much in place. If you notice the houses, the cusp of each house is literally in place according to this chart, okay, according to this one. And I usually use, if you don't know this, I usually use Placidus, which is of course the basic one. But they all kind of make slight differences, but not that much, I suppose. I don't know. And then we also have Chiron, 29 degrees. So pretty much also there. So a lot of the emotions she experiences, it's kind of hidden in herself. Like she probably has dreams about it. It's in her subconscious or unconscious or subconscious, where she knows how to deal with those dreams. But because we also have trine right here. We have trine Chiron to Neptune. So probably a lot of the pain that she goes through is probably illusional pain, like maybe she doesn't realize, or things that she's lost in life, particularly with like, because it's in the 12th house, so a lot of it is like, maybe it's perspective pain, maybe it's not actual pain that she's gone through. I mean, we all go through suffering, we all go through struggles, all those things in loss. We all go through some form of loss or pain. That's Chiron. But we also learn from that. Right? So how she does that is she has that guidance from that Plutonian energy. But at the same time, it's more inwards because we have Neptune in retrograde. So a lot of it is inward motion. It's a lot of, it's not exactly illusions or like delusions or anything like that. It's actually, it's embedded deep within. It's like kind of she knows how to intuitively know how to work with those losses. In particular, any sort of maybe addictions, maybe, I don't know. Maybe any sort of like, any form of addictions, any sort of like seduction, sort of. That's why probably she plays these characters, because she knows how to work with it. You can tell right away, right? Like the role she plays. She played Lucretia in Spartacus. She was Xena. Hello! So she played those roles that are very like, that's also the Eurasian thing, sort of thing. But because we also have the sun in Aries, Mars, we then look into Mars and see that Mars was, where was Mars here? Did I miss it? Oh, Mars is in 0 degrees 34 minutes. 34 minutes? Yeah, 34 minutes in Taurus. And what so she's very much like earthy, sort of like, it adds an earth to her sun, her personality, her identity. Probably, I would say she also probably got along in a different way, probably in a very testy way with her parents, particularly her father, more like her father than her mother. There must have been like, she must have been birthed, like when she was birthed, when she came out of the womb. It probably was, maybe it was slow, but you could say that probably there's a lot of, not, I say a lot, there was, not really sure if it was like painful or anything, like for the mother at least, for her mom. I'm not really sure. I can't really say that because it's not really. Where does the sun it plays itself? So a lot of vitality. There's a lot of process going on that was, but it definitely took time because Saturn is there, right? I'm not sure it's exactly because Saturn is here. Saturn here is not conjunct to the ascendant, so therefore it's not really directly with the actual birthing process. It was more the moon. So probably her mother was probably going through something. I don't know what it is. Chiron is there as well as conjunct the ascendant, but it's conjunct the first house, the ascendant. So that means that something was happening there, some sort of loss. But part of fortune is there too. So it probably shows that even though it seemed like there was problems, like maybe some sort of worries from her mom's, like her on her mother's part, there might have not been any at all because you have the part of fortune there, and also you have. Well, again, this is nothing to do with the birthing process, but her North Node is was in Aries and 18 degrees, first house. So a lot of the stuff she does, a lot of that curiosity, a lot of that venturing, a lot of that, she's a pioneering sort of person for a specific thing about go-getting, that sort of like burst of energy that's like just curiosity. That's her, I think she began following that. And she also has some support here from Jupiter, but slow Jupiter because it's in retrograde too. As you can see here, it's trying to her North Node. Or is it trying to her Mars? Oh, trying to her Mars. Okay, well, yeah, trying to her Mars. So no, what that would mean particularly is her she knows how to work with her body, but she's learns to go with the flow of, I guess, the flow. So she has she enjoys working with her body, particularly with here because we have the first house. It connects the first and the fifth house here. So she works. I guess she loves. In other words, she likes being fit. She enjoys that. But I think there's a sort of an inward process because Jupiter retrograde is not just like that whole leisure thing. It's not just fortune. It's sort of like inner. That inner, it becomes inwards, drawn inwards. There's a sort of a delay as well, the expression of Jupiter. And the expression of Jupiter, as you may already know, is, what is this? Well, yeah, fortune, where one actually finds good fortune, and where it's a little bit like Venus, except that Venus is more about the pleasure part. Here it's more about where you have a good time, because jovial, you know where jovial comes from, the word Jupiter, it means youthful, young. It's very much Jupiter, but because it's in retrograde, it's more like maybe there's a lot of like she had to go through like hard work first, like it's almost like Saturn, like it's almost like she had to go through that difficult process of like, I can't. So maybe she looked kind of older when she was younger. She appeared maybe younger, or at least she behaved younger. Her actions were more like matured in a way, especially with when you have Mars in Taurus, anger doesn't come out quickly. It's a little bit more like a slow process. In fact, it's more connected to the body. It's more connected to, it doesn't. If Mars in Taurus does not get angry right away, it's like this is what you call the slow to anger. People who've heard that phrase before, she's slow to anger. But I think she's able to process that, particularly with the trine to Jupiter in retrograde. She processes that more like internally. It's almost like, what does this mean for me? What does this mean for me? It's philosophy as well, right? This is Jupiter's tied to Sagittarius, but Jupiter was in Leo, so a lot of it is the pride thing. So